Maya's hands moved through the hibiscus hedge with surgical precision, pruning shears catching the golden California light. To the guests lounging by Luminosa's infinity pool, she was invisible, just another gardener in dusty khaki maintaining their paradise. But those same hands had once sketched blueprints for award-winning sustainable skyscrapers. They had held an MIT diploma. They had cradled her father's head the night his heart gave out, destroyed by the men who stole everything he built. Today, two of those men sat 15 feet away at table 7, drinking $200 mojitos and speaking Italian, a language they believed made them untouchable. They believed she was nothing. They believed they were safe. They were about to learn that some secrets don't stay buried, and the most devastating truths can be delivered in perfect, fluent Italian. Maya deadheaded a wilting flower, movements economical, almost meditative. 14 months working grounds maintenance at Luminosa. $22 an hour, just enough for her studio apartment in Inglewood and monthly flowers for her father's grave. The other workers called her the quiet one. She never complained about entitled guests who treated staff like furniture. She simply worked with an excellence that seemed excessive for trimming hedges. No one knew she could calculate load-bearing requirements in her head, that she could read a building's structural language like poetry. Her supervisor Miguel had seen her sketching during lunch, geometric precision in every line, but never asked questions. She wore invisibility like armor, safer to be no one. She had perfected being invisible. Today, that would shatter. Luminosa sprawled across 12 oceanfront acres, clean lines, sustainable luxury, solar panels disguised as decorative screens, reclaimed redwood, living walls filtering sea air, 6 international design awards. Maya knew every inch, not because she maintained it but because she'd studied it obsessively. She knew its architect, the innovations they'd claimed as original. She knew because some were her father's. The infinity pool had a revolutionary filtration system, natural, zero-chemical, powered by specific native plants. Her father, Anton Kovac, had patented it 8 years ago. She'd helped test prototypes in their garage, hands in algae-filled water. The temperature-regulating walls, his too. Patent US 108473992. Every day she walked through this monument to stolen genius, carrying pruning shears instead of drafting pencils. 3 years ago, she'd walked properties like this as an architect. Then came the call that destroyed everything. Cambridge, Massachusetts, February 2021, age 26. Her phone had buzzed, her father's voice breaking, Maya Moja Esrico, they're taking everything. Anton Kovac, brilliant structural engineer from Split, Croatia, immigrated with 10-year-old Maya and nothing but notebooks. 25 years designing systems that made buildings breathe, made sustainability affordable. Small firm, Kovac Innovation Labs, converted warehouse in Oakland. Never wanted to be rich, wanted his work to matter. 3 months before Maya's MIT graduation, he'd achieved breakthrough. Interlocking patents for net zero commercial buildings. Water, energy, climate control, all biomimetic, all scalable. The Harmony Protocol. Tech investors circled. Anton, trusting and eager, took meetings with Titan Development Group. Richard Castellano himself flew to Oakland, shook Anton's calloused hand. This will change everything. Let's be partners. 2 weeks later, lawsuits started. Patent challenges, claims of prior art, allegations Anton stole designs from a former Titan contractor. The legal assault was surgical. Titan had 17 lawyers. Anton had 1, motions in 3 jurisdictions simultaneously. Claims his filtration system violated environmental regulations. A former intern, Marco, mentored for 2 years, signed an affidavit claiming Anton falsified test data. All lies. Coordinated, expensive, airtight lies. Patent applications frozen, business loan due, employees quit, tech blogs, immigrant engineers, revolutionary patents under investigation for fraud. Anton stopped sleeping. Maya watched him age a decade in 6 weeks, watched the light die in his eyes. They don't want to prove I stole anything, he'd told her, English fragmenting under stress. They make fight too expensive. Wait until no money for lawyers, take patents for nothing. Settlement, drop claims, sign papers, 50,000, go away. Maya withdrew from MIT that week, flew to Oakland. Found her father in his warehouse office, surrounded by blueprints and legal documents, crying in the dark. Tata will fight this. No, escrow is over, I sign tomorrow. You can't. I sign or lose everything and you lose future paying my debts. They win, is what they do. 4 days after signing away his life's work for $50,000, Anton Kovac had a massive coronary. Died in Maya's arms, surrounded by designs that would make Richard Castellano a fortune. Medical bills, $127,000. Anton's insurance had lapsed during the legal battle. Maya sold everything. Warehouse. Equipment, cars, furniture, moved to a friend's couch in LA thinking she'd restart her architecture career, but Castellano's machine was thorough. Anton's fraud investigation became associated with his daughter. Graduate schools rescinded interest. Firms went silent. One managing partner asked pointed questions about family's legal troubles. Blacklisted by association, brilliant young career strangled in its cradle, first job. CAD drafting, $18 an hour, then warehouse work, then landscaping. 14 months ago, Luminosa's help-wanted ad, the irony maintained gardens at a resort built with stolen innovation. She'd taken it. She needed to eat. She had buried her past. Today it would claw back. Richard Castellano arrived like a conquering general sweeping through the lobby with his entourage. Maya saw them from the West Garden, silver hair, expensive tan. Body kept trim by personal trainers, linen suit worth more than she made in 3 months. Beside him, Marcus Webb, Titan's chief innovation officer, the hatchet man. Third person, someone's bored girlfriend scrolling her phone. They settled at table 7 by the infinity pool, best table. Mysteriously unavailable to other guests all week. Castellano snapped his fingers at a server. Mojitos, special reserve rum, not the omakase tasting menu. We're celebrating. No please, no eye contact. Server was a function, not a person. Maya adjusted a sprinkler head 40 feet away, partially obscured by birds of paradise. To them, scenery. Castellano leaned back, raised his mojito. To Project Helios, he said in English, then switched to Italian. His voice dropped conspiratorially as he toasted to the stupidity of those who still believe in business ethics. They had no idea she spoke fluent Italian. Maya's hands stilled. That voice, that cadence Roman, educated, old money dialect, she'd heard it once. Phone call her father had on speaker during her final MIT semester. Castellano smooth-talking about partnership, vision, legacy, calling her father a genius. 3 months before destroying him, Marcus laughed, responding in Italian, called Castellano terrible but said that's why he's a billionaire and they're not. They clinked glasses. Maya's Italian was flawless. Her father insisted she grow up trilingual. Croatian from him, English from school, Italian because great architects must know Italian esrico to understand Renaissance, to understand beauty. She'd spent a summer in Florence, living with a family, speaking nothing else. She knelt lower, body language screaming, employee invisible beneath notice. They kept talking. Then the conversation shifted to a project from years ago. Castellano gestured vaguely toward Maya with his glass, speaking Italian. Look at these gardeners. Working so hard for $22 an hour. Marcus's eyes passed across Maya without seeing. In Italian. They probably think this is success. Castellano continued in Italian, a small life for small minds. They could never imagine how the world really works. Who builds empires, who tends the gardens of empires. His laugh was casual, thoughtless. The cruelty wasn't intentional, worse, he didn't consider people around him fully human. Maya's jaw clenched. She pulled a weed with unnecessary force. She could endure this. She'd endured worse. Then Marcus said in Italian, like that Project Sunrise, right? Maya's world stopped. Project Sunrise, the internal name Titan used for her father's acquisition. Castellano's voice warmed with nostalgia, speaking Italian. Ah, Sunrise. That was a masterpiece. Maya's heart hammered, she couldn't breathe. Sprinkler valve blurred in her vision. She'd seen that name on 3 documents her father's lawyer got during discovery. Internal Titan emails. Asset acquisition, IP consolidation. She forced her hands to move mechanically while her nervous system screamed. Marcus asked in Italian, the old Croatian, what was his name. Kovac, Castellano said, pronouncing it wrong, dismissive. Continued in Italian, Anton Kovac. Brilliant mind but no business intelligence. Thought patents meant protection. Marcus laughed, responding in Italian, thought justice existed. Castellano replied in Italian, exactly, romantic, stupid, talking about her father, past tense. Casually, over mojitos, her hands didn't shake. Inside, everything screamed. Castellano leaned forward, voice conspiratorial, speaking Italian. You know the trick with Sunrise? We didn't have to steal anything, we made him gift it to us. Marcus prompted in Italian, how? Castellano continued in Italian. First, we created doubt. Anonymous TechCrunch article raising questions about scalability. Then we had his intern testify. Italian, Marco something. Castellano in Italian, Marco Breslin. Offered him $75,000 and an entry-level position. He signed an affidavit saying Kovac asked him to falsify test data. Marcus in Italian, was it true? Castellano's smile was answer enough. In Italian, irrelevant. Seemed plausible, that's all that matters in patent litigation. Perception over reality. Maya's vision tunneled. Marco, sweet, eager Marco her father mentored, trusted, who ate dinner at their house, bought for $75,000. Castellano continued in Italian, the best part was watching him break. 3 weeks of depositions, legal fees burning his savings, I saw the exact moment he broke in his eyes, like a light going out. Italian. Then we offered $50,000 to disappear. Marcus in Italian and he accepted. Castellano in Italian signed the next day, died like a week later, heart attack or something. Weak-hearted, they were bragging about killing her father. Had no idea she was his daughter. Marcus raised his glass, speaking Italian, to the weak-hearted who make our success possible, clinked glasses, laughing, actually laughing. Castellano continued in Italian. Best part is we now own all his work. His technologies are in 6 of our developments. Made $340 million last year just from his patents, and he got $50,000 and a heart attack. Marcus in Italian. Almost wish he'd died after seeing Helios. This resort uses practically every one of his systems. He could have walked through a monument to his own genius and known he got nothing. Castellano smiled, replying in Italian. The poetry doesn't escape you, that was it. The unforgivable line. Maya stood up, she had nothing left to lose. 3 seconds frozen, then crystalline clarity, he doesn't even know I exist. Destroyed my entire family and doesn't know my name. She could walk away, finish her shift, survive another week in quiet desperation, or speak. Consequences, fired, blacklisted, no reference, lose this job, her apartment, nothing. But she already had nothing. The secret freedom of having lost everything. Her father's hands ink-stained from sketching, his careful English, his belief that good work mattered. Beauty hrabra esrico, be brave, my happiness. Maya stood, brushed dirt from her knees, walked toward table 7. She placed her pruning shears on their table, spoke in perfect Italian. Excuse me, gentlemen. The effect was instantaneous. Castellano's mojito froze halfway to his lips. Face went through 3 expressions in 2 seconds: confusion, shock, dawning horror. Marcus choked on his drink, coughing mojito onto white tablecloth. Maya stood straight, dirty uniform suddenly irrelevant. Voice calm, controlled, carrying the precise, educated accent of someone who'd studied in Florence. She continued in Italian. First, I'd like to make a small grammatical correction. You don't say weak-hearted in that context. The correct expression is weak constitution or of frail health. He smiled, cold as winter ocean, in Italian. If you intend to insult someone in a language you believe makes you superior, you should at least master its nuances. Castellano's face drained of color. Nearby guests noticed the commotion, but she wasn't finished. Who the hell are you? Castellano managed in English, voice strangled. Maya didn't switch. Stayed in Italian, forcing him to meet her on her chosen ground. In Italian, who am I? I'm someone whose biggest worry extends far beyond $22 an hour, though thanks to you, this is indeed a real concern. She stepped closer. 3 waiters stopped mid-service. A woman at table 9 had her phone out. Maya continued in Italian. I'm someone with a small mind who graduated magna cum laude from MIT with a master's in sustainable architecture. Someone with a gardener's brain who published 2 papers in progressive architecture before age 25. Marcus looked frantically between them. Fear in his eyes was electric. Maya's voice dropped, becoming steel, speaking Italian. But that's not the name you should remember. You should remember another name, one you mentioned 5 minutes ago. A man you called weak-hearted, romantic, stupid. She let the words hang. In Italian, my name is Maya Kovac. Anton Kovac was my father. Recognition flooded Castellano's face like ice water. This wasn't random. This was a reckoning. Castellano physically recoiled, composure shattering like glass. Maya felt savage satisfaction. Continued in Italian, voice vibrating with 3 years of suppressed rage. In Italian, I heard every word, every single word. Project Sunrise, I saw that name on 3 documents my father's lawyer obtained. Marco Breslin, who you bought for $75,000, the anonymous TechCrunch article you planted, the false affidavit, the stolen patents. Reciting his crimes like a prosecutor. In Italian, you bragged about watching him break, about seeing the light go out in his eyes. Her voice cracked once. She steadied it immediately. In Italian, that heart attack you mentioned so casually. 4 days after he signed your documents, 4 days after you stole his life's work for $50,000, he died in his office, surrounded by designs that now make you millions. The restaurant went completely silent. Even kitchen noise stopped. In Italian, and you're sitting here at a resort built with his patents, drinking $200 mojitos and laughing about how stupid he was. At table 12, tech journalist Amanda Chen hit record. Castellano surged to his feet, chair scraping violently, face mottled purple. You're fired, he snarled in English. I'll make sure you never work in this city. You don't work here, came a new voice. Miguel Torres, grounds supervisor, appeared beside Maya. Stocky man in his 50s, normally quiet. Not now. Mr. Castellano, you're a guest. Maya is my employee. We don't tolerate abuse. Abuse, Castellano's voice rose. Other guests stared, some standing. She attacked us. I heard no attack, came another voice. Amanda Chen from table 12, walking over, phone clearly recording. I heard someone translating your Italian conversation, which I've been recording, for a profile piece on Luminosa for Architectural Digest. Then smile, though I think the story just changed. Castellano looked around wildly, 15 people watching, multiple phones out. His private mockery now catastrophically public. Marcus grabbed Castellano's arm. Richard, we need to leave now. But Castellano's ego wouldn't allow retreat. This is slander. I'll sue you. I'll sue this resort. For what? Miguel asked calmly. For overhearing a conversation you had in public. For having an employee who speaks Italian. Please call your lawyers. Maya stood perfectly still, letting chaos swirl around her. Oddly calm, like standing in a hurricane's eye. Sarah Brennan, Luminosa's general manager, approached in elegant pantsuit. She'd witnessed everything from the lobby. Mr. Castellano, she said, voice professional ice, I think it's best if you settle your account and leave. You're throwing me out? Castellano looked genuinely shocked. The world didn't work this way. Billionaires didn't get expelled. Gardeners got fired. Natural order. We're asking you to leave. Yes, Sarah confirmed. Luminosa has zero tolerance for staff harassment. Castellano stood trembling with impotent rage. Around the pool, guests began to applaud softly at first, then growing. Maya met his eyes one last time, saw what her father must have seen, a small, cruel man whose only real power was money and willingness to destroy. Without another word, Castellano threw cash on the table and stormed toward the parking lot, Marcus scrambling behind. By sunset, Amanda Chen's recording would be online. By morning, the world would know his name. Amanda Chen's article went live at 11 p.m. Headline, Billionaire developer caught bragging about destroying engineer who created his fortune. Recording embedded, Italian transcription and English translation side by side. Castellano's voice laughing about Anton Kovac's weak heart. Marcus toasting to those who make their success possible. By 3 a.m., trending on X. By 6 a.m., Bloomberg, TechCrunch, Architectural Digest. By 9 a.m., number 3 story on CNN. The internet investigated. Within hours, Reddit threads dug up Anton Kovac's patents, linked them to Titan developments, calculated Castellano made approximately $340 million using stolen technology, exactly the number he'd bragged about. Former Titan employees came forward anonymously, Similar acquisitions, other small inventors crushed. Pattern of predatory behavior spanning 15 years. Marco Breslin, now mid-level Titan manager, saw his name trending. Screenshots of his affidavit appeared alongside his LinkedIn profile. He deactivated social media. Too late. SEC announced investigation into Titan's acquisition practices at 2 p.m., 48 hours after the video dropped. Titan's stock cratered, down 8% first day, down 23% by week's end. Castellano's board held emergency meeting. Two choices: resign as CEO with severance or be terminated for cause with nothing. 12 hours to decide. He chose resignation. Press release: stepping down to spend time with family, transitioning to advisory role. Everyone knew the truth. For Maya, 72 hours were surreal blur. Phone exploded with messages. Friend requests, interview offers, talent agency, 2 law firms offering to sue Titan pro bono. She ignored most of it, until one email stopped her heart. From Alina Vasquez, founder of Tessera Design Collective, one of the most prestigious sustainable architecture firms in the world. Subject: your father's legacy. Dear Maya, I knew your father, met him at a green building conference in 2019. He showed me his Harmony Protocol designs. I told him they'd change the world. I was right, they did. They just made Richard Castellano rich instead. I've watched what happened this week. Read about your MIT work. Senior sketches, Amanda Chen included. Tessera is launching a division focused on open-source sustainable technologies, systems that can't be monopolized by developers like Castellano. We need someone to lead it, someone who understands both technical architecture and human cost of IP theft. This isn't charity, this is the job you should have had 3 years ago. Position starts at $145,000, full benefits, equity in the firm. If you're interested, call me. Your father's work should have made the world better. Let's finish what he started. Maya read it 3 times, tears streaming. 2 weeks later, she walked into Tessera's bright offices in downtown LA. First project, working with Anton Kovac's former lawyer to reclaim his patents. Titan, desperate to settle, agreed within a month. She placed all Anton's patents in a Creative Commons trust. Free for any architect or developer to use, one condition: they couldn't be resold or monopolized. Within a year, Harmony Protocol was used in 43 developments across 17 countries. Her father's dream of accessible sustainability was finally real. On the anniversary of his death, Maya returned to Luminosa, not through service entrance but through the front door. Reservation for 1 at table 7. Sarah Brennan personally seated her. It's an honor, Ms. Kovac. Maya ordered omakase tasting menu and a mojito with special reserve rum. Ate slowly, looking out at the infinity pool, living walls, solar panels disguised as decorative screens, all built with her father's genius. She raised her glass to the sunset. Zatib Tata, for you, father. She was finally free. Not from her past, but to build a future worthy of it.